Free agency continues to go wild, including Calvin Ridley getting $50 million guaranteed. So the time is to ask the question: does the big contract, guys, actually worth drafting? And is Calvin Ridley in particular, is he worth drafting? Is he in a better spot, a worse spot? Let's talk about it. I am already in a draft room here. Of course, Underdog's Big Board, $200K to first place. Underdog presenting the show as well. Promo code there if you want to double your deposit up to $100. But a good day of free agency. Obviously, the Calvin Ridley move, a bit of a surprise one coming out of left field. AFC South tearing each other apart. You hate to see that. Besides that, though, who are the winners and losers? I do want to establish that up top here. So I've seen some stuff out there, and one person I will call out in particular because I like this person quite a bit. Been very kind to me, almost actually offered me a role in his company much before it became a real thing. Matthew Berry, I think, actually one of the greatest guys in the fantasy industry in terms of how great he is to a lot of content creators. Obviously, you know his relationship with Pete. You've seen him be on this show before. You might not know he's been very kind to me off stream as well because he followed my work back at Barstool back in the day. So has been I wouldn't say a mentor, but definitely somebody I can turn to if I have a question, if I need a connection kind of thing. So for him, he tweeted out like, oh, Calvin Ridley, big move to the Titans, but it's going to be a lower pass rate offense. Like, it's not a good move for him on that front. And I think this some people are missing, where Cincinnati last year finished second overall in pass rate over expectation. Jags were still top 5 as well, but Cincinnati had about 3x the pass rate over expectation that Tennessee had. So, or excuse me, that Jacksonville had. So Tennessee, we're expecting to import a lot of things from Cincinnati. It's Brian Callahan, the Cincinnati offensive coordinator, who's going to be the coach. Coincidentally enough, we do have, I believe it's Jacksonville as the import, their offensive coordinator, who's going to be the guy who's going to be the OC now for Tennessee. So I think we see a couple similarities there that lead me to believe this actually is going to be a better situation for Calvin Ridley. And I'm not like a huge Calvin Ridley guy. I personally, took him where he was going pretty much with the field last year. I'm okay with him. Certainly had some concerns. I could see the logic and having a lot of concerns about him last year, coming off the hiatus, coming off, frankly, a not good year the last time he actually was playing. But he had a 0.1 EPA per target last year, 23% target route run rate, accumulated about 111 air yards per game. He did what he had to do. He's not great. Also, what is going on here? Am I in a bizarro splash play room? All right, we got McCaffrey, Breece Hall, Bijan, Gibbs, Barkley going in the first round. Saquon at pick 9. No. Now 80 picks higher than where DeAndre Swift was going last year. A few people did not like my DeAndre Swift comp in terms of ADPs for Saquon Barkley, but he is not this good, guys. He's not even Jahmyr Gibbs good. I don't think he's better than Kyren Williams. I don't think he's in a better situation than Kyren Williams either. You're like, what is Jalen Hurts going to suddenly go? Yeah, you know what, man? I'm done with this running thing. And people believe the tush push is going to be less effective with Jason Kelce gone. Maybe it'll be less effective. They're not going to not try it. It's coaching. It's a coaching-based thing. It's not that Jason Kelce is a magical man who's the only one in the world who can do it. Batshit start here in this room. And I guess, A.J. Brown feels like he's getting a little bit less valuable to me with the Saquon signal. Devontae Parker, also obviously not a big target earner, but he is a target earner. I'll still take A.J. Brown because I think I'm a little bit mentally biased against him, and I probably shouldn't be. Do I just let this room running back themselves to death? I really don't take a lot of Garrett Wilson, and I suppose I should end that. My brain is saying, just go get Marvin Harrison, have some fun, but can't draft the same kind of team always. We will take Garrett Wilson here and hope that he's useful. And I hope our guy, Robert Griffin III, if he is somewhere seeing this at some point, he will know that I hate this. I hate doing it at turn, but we're doing it. Friends and family draft again. Troy Franklin to 100 just doesn't feel right. Yeah, a lot of people commenting on yesterday's stream where I happened to hop into a room where I was the last one coming in on Underdog right before the stream started, and ended up being a situation where I had probably one of the best drafts I've had on stream in a while. It was still fairly unique, still got all the things that we wanted to hit there. But yes, and I also have to say, for actually the first time this year, I've done some little board drafts, had not done a big board draft off stream. I did do one last night off stream, and in fact, had a wonderful time in that one as well. Besides somebody for no fucking reason sniping me on Will Levis, I took the Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins double stack yesterday and that draft off stream. And I was like, you know what? This seems like a fun one. I'll try to get Levis late. I'll get Bryce Young maybe too, because Deontay Johnson was a guy I had to get because it was a 2 RB start for me in that one. I know, a full piggy mode, but I went with my the one that I do like. If you're going to take a 2 RB start, Kyron Williams, I think Devon Achane, two guys analytically were very good and obviously still young enough. There should be one more level for them to hit in terms of improving across the EPA metrics that I look at and swear by for Sports Info Solutions, but also in general as players. Oh my God, Drake London at 18. His room, this room is, what is going on? I'm always glad to have regulars here, as I've talked about. I'm happy to have people following my advice, happy to have people being in these rooms. Our drafters here in general and Splash Room is very sharp. That said, I just don't think Drake London's going in 18 in a normie room. I have to feel that is the case. With Drake London at 18 here, there was a guy yesterday in that drafted tonight who took Kyle Pitts at pick 54 because he really wanted to get the Falcons full stack. He got Bijan, got Drake London, and then it was like, I can't possibly let Kyle Pitts go 20 picks later than right now at his normal ADP. So the Falcons hype is real. I think the Falcons team, like we talked about a lot, recency bias of drafts is one of the biggest things that has been incredibly markedly pronounced so far in 2024. Anything that just happened is going to make people react, whether it be they like the move, they don't like the move. They're going to immediately start to hammer that aggressively in that direction. And people really like the Falcons. And, I get it. I like London better than Garrett Wilson. I kind of do too, but ADPs exist for a reason, especially in this tournament that's half filled. And Drake London's going for half those teams was going in the late 30s, early 40s. But you can do what you want. It's a little bit nuts. Drake London at 18 makes as much sense as the Harrison price. Sure. Actually, don't disagree with that. So, Terrence, you're on way back into my heart. But yeah, no, I mean, look, none of the prices really make sense. The ADP is a construct anyway. I don't know. If you really want to nickel and dime everything, like wide receivers being this frothy overall doesn't make a ton of sense. Like there should be a little bit more balance. But what do you want to do? Do you want to take elite QBs? I don't think Josh Allen at 22 makes sense. He's not 20 spots better than Lamar. Yesterday, I got Lamar 30 spots after where Josh Allen goes. I don't think that's correct. So, you can pull on the thread all you want, but ultimately ADP is ADP. Take guys at that ADP or not. But be mindful of the construct of ADP is a big part. Did I know that Xavier Leggett is a country accent? No, I did not know that, but I like him even more. I don't know if you guys have seen the memes, or I guess I don't even know what they are at this point. But like the tomboy girl who people, I guess, are conservative people are posting because they're like, this isn't a woman. Like she's who, like women are beautiful and delicate. And this woman who's like hot, but like does like yard work in the South or whatever. And she's got like a Southern accent. And I was like, and then I guess part of the critique of that was that, oh, the Southern accent is like a masculine trait that women should never have. And I'm like, I disagree with that. I think Southern accents are cool on women. I think for Xavier Leggett too, if he's going to sound like Cowboy Troy, sure. I'm down for that. Xavier Leggett, that actually would only increase my love for him. We need like a black guy football player who wears cowboy hats. I think that would be so sick. And not like sillily like Juju Smith-Schuster does, like he's dressing like Woody from Toy Story. I want guys that are like, about that life. Give me some country boys. We need it. It's time. We're ready for it. Let's see. His interviews that he had a very Randy Moss vibe. Jumped up the board a few spots. Are we talking about Leggett? Leggett had a very Randy Moss vibe? I mean, we all know the Randy Moss of the class is in fact Troy Franklin, the homeless man's Randy Moss. But yeah, look, I like it's AJ Brown. I mean, I've said that enough times here. I think I was probably one of the earliest people to be saying that. Now a lot of people have said it, so I'm definitely glad to get that reinforcement. But Leggett's like he plays well out of the slot. He's got a big body, strong guy, obviously fast. Like some of the plays you'll see from Leggett that are the most impressive is just him running away from guys downfield where they're in range and then they are not in range. And that's, against legit competition at South Carolina. So for Leggett, I think there's a lot of good ceiling for him. And certainly, if he lands somewhere somewhere good, rather, he's going to play well. All right, we're on the clock again here. Oh, well, at this spot, I don't know how I don't do this. We're going to do the Hurts Devontae thing. Got AJ Brown. We might as well get this Philly stack. And I'm happy to make a bet that's not Saquon at pick 9. So Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith to start. Am I the only one falling out of love with Brian Thomas? I've fallen in love with him because the athletic profile plus his EPA metrics, as I talked about, great downfield receiver, guy who really showed that. The question for me is that, like, I agree. I don't know that he's the most refined route runner, but he does find ways to get himself very open. The question I had when watching some of his stuff, including one cut up short game, was like, is he really getting himself open, or is Malik Neighbors getting him open? Slash the threat of Jane Daniels running getting him open. And I kind of think it was a lot of the latter two, where but that doesn't mean that Brian Thomas isn't good. It just means that he took advantage of what was there. So that is part of your NFL skill set as well, taking advantage of what the opportunities that other players around you create. And obviously that's going to come more from a coaching level than it is a player's choice level. But Brian Thomas, I think did what he had to do in that offense and was really good with it. So should have earned targets more. That's like the big critique. But if Malik Neighbors is great, and I think Malik Neighbors is great, and if Jay Daniels is great and as great as a rusher, then it kind of makes sense a little bit more how the target share wasn't that high. But, it being where it was for him, I mean, again, 23% would be behind a lot of guys. He and Adonai Mitchell, 22.9% for him. Those are not great numbers when you have Malachi Corley getting 35%, obviously low A-dot targets. Malik Washington, same thing, 35%. Marvin Harrison getting more deep targets at 35%, but Neighbors at 31%, Odunze 29%, even Keon Coleman at 27%. Thomas and Adonai Mitchell were not great target earners, so that's really the big flaw. Shout out to Kellen Moore. Yeah, we're hoping big time for Kellen Moore. I mean, for what it's worth, Kellen Moore, I think, helped Keenan Allen to his most productive year in a while and gave him a shot to the open score thing. Keenan Allen was the most open wide receiver in football last year. And I don't think that's because he got a lot faster as a 40-year-old. I think it's because Kellen Moore used him to the best of his capabilities. So for A.J. Brown, for Devontae Smith, that would be my hope for these guys. But you do add Devontae Parker, who is going to be more target competition than Julio Jones was. And frankly, Julio Jones last year took just enough off the table for these guys where he had a 2-touchdown game, or like it wasn't great, even though Julio himself wasn't great. So less targets, less concentrated offense for Philly does worry you. But with how Mike Williams and how Keenan Allen got used by Kellen Moore last year, got to think he's going to use these guys well and feed them well at the same time. Lamar's stock should be going up. Why? Because of Henry? I don't see how that would help him. Helps him a little bit in the RPO, maybe, but I don't know that it helps him. You got to give Henry his goal line touches. That means less for Lamar. Anything that makes something less, unless it's going to make everything else more efficient, but anything that creates less volume, you shouldn't be stoked about. But Lamar, I agree, is too cheap. In general, I got him yesterday in the 50s in a draft where it was just random people, not as many of these savvy drafters that we get here in the Splash Play room. But, I think that 50s for Lamar too cheap. 41 for Lamar feels about right. I don't think the split should be that big. I think it should be like Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Lamar in one pocket right here would be what I would say would be this 3-4 area, I believe is where they all should go. But people are really enthusiastic about Josh Allen. He did run a little bit more with Joe Brady taking over as offensive coordinator. So I get it. Wide open running lanes. He only scored 4 or 5. Yeah, because I mean he's getting older and making a business decision with his big contract. I don't know, man. I don't think it's ever going to be a great thing to have a back that can get 20 touches and 5 goal line touches in a game when you have a QB who does derive a good amount of, especially his ceiling value, does derive that from, having the ability to run for touchdowns, having the ability to control the goal line. It's going to hurt them both equally. The offense will get better for it, but I don't think that's going to necessarily get you upside for fantasy points. All right. Coming up at a pick here. Of course, we got 2 on the turn. Again, no opposition to taking a thumbnail guy like Calvin Ridley. We'll see what Carlos does here. He takes Calvin Ridley. So thanks, Carlos, for ruining the thumbnail. No, Carlos can have Ridley. Of course, I knew the second I said it out loud, that was done. Taking AR here just doesn't feel viable with the fact that we have Jalen Hurts. But what am I? Who am I? We know who I am. I'm the AR guy. I'm going to take an AR Jalen Hurts. We're going to fucking blow teams out of the water at QB in this room, if nothing else. So fine, done. QB off the board. Jordan Addison, Jordan Addison going to get Sam Darnold and looking more likely to be getting J.J. McCarthy in a trade up. It looks like McCarthy followed the star receivers for the Vikings, followed Jordan Addison, followed Justin Jefferson. So we're going to go there. I'm going to read the team, but first, before we read the team, you know the ritual, guys. I guess we haven't seen it in a while because AR's ADP is now too frothy, especially in splash play rooms. Anthony Richardson back in pocket, doing it. Team so far at QB, Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson. At wide receiver, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, and Jordan Addison. I'll tell you what, guys, I think if we go into week 17 with Garrett Wilson against the Aaron Rodgers teams, going to be feeling pretty good with Jalen Hurts and AR. So the real AR, Anthony Richardson. So we're back. We're back in the jersey. Ooh. Now we're doing sexy dance. Feels good. Praise, I believe, is it. Do it. The people wanted it. Good. Finally here live and getting some heavy discounts thanks to watching your streams. Oh, good. Okay. I think that sounds like a good thing. I was like, wait a minute, is this an insult? No, that's a good thing. So I'm glad to hear that. Of course, glad to hear see new faces in here in the chat. Appreciate all you guys being here. Again, we're doing drafts here every Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. So please do subscribe down below. Please hit that like button. Again, your likes help out a lot. Your likes get these videos more impressions, which then allow more people to see the videos, get recommended to more people. And that's the goal here, is to keep Splash Play moving upwardly, especially as we get into the real heart of draft season. So help me out here. Help me with all the work I'm doing every day here to make sure you guys have good info. And certainly if you agree or disagree, I'm going to do my best to present the case as best I can. So that is the promise here on Splash Play, along with drafts every day. Again, Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. And frankly, again, best community in football. They ruin draft rooms with being too good at it. But they are the best community in football. I will say that. Maybe even all of betting. I don't know. Always a better draft with a money time hat on. Yeah, I mean, I forgot yesterday because I was wearing my Underdog hat and I just kept it on because I was like, I'm not going to go put the hat on. But this is the brand. I was thinking about it where it's like, yeah, yesterday I did a really good draft while wearing the Underdog hat. But it's like, yeah, if Superman saves a person dressed like Clark Kent, like Superman, it's still not Superman. You're like, cool, great job, Clark. You flew through the air and you saved somebody. But if you're not wearing the branding, you're not Superman. So this is what makes me Superman, I guess. So that's how I'm going to justify it, if nothing else. Not the hyper fragile build of old running backs I was expecting. Yeah, you know what? That's unfortunately not going to get those a lot in the stream. Though I do want to be, again, a little more RB friendly in drafts this year, where I was so 0 RB last year and then ended up winning the tournament. So you make the case that I shouldn't dial that back. But I do think in general, just because I think in particular this year, the top 7 RBs are either Christian McCaffrey or they're young, exciting, fun, unascendant offenses. So like, I don't not want shares of the top running backs here. The markets have figured out, oh yeah, let's not put Derrick Henry there. And Derrick Henry at 55. Cool. Like I'm fine with that too. I think running back prices for the most part have found their depth enough that like I can try to balance it out. The tough part for me is just like, I don't want to pass up the best wide receivers because I want the best of the thing that I think is the most important part of football. So that's a trade-off. Troy Franklin, even a guy who takes Saquon at pick 9 cannot avoid Troy Franklin 81. This guy, though, getting all the rooks. Romo Dunze at 33, Brian Thomas at 57, the Lyle Kittenhouse draft stream. I'm sure it's popping off. Aaron Jones, Minnesota, top 10 RB finish. Top 10 might be hard. Top 20 is in range. Top 15 is in range, I think. He's got to stay healthy, though. He's old enough. You would want them, I think, to take care of him to some respect. But he's probably going to get the best play calling he's gotten in a while. And, he's going to – this seemed like it got a little weird last year for him. I don't really get what happened. The usage wasn't there for parts, and it seemed like they were slow to bring him back in, or he was slow to come back in. So there were some weird things going on that I think were not the best. All right, we are at a very RB potent spot for sure. James Conner, we've talked about, do you think a little bit undervalued? I'm going to go with him here. And, well, you know what? I think DeAndre Swift keeps coming up, and I think he should. Him being attached to a Chicago offense, I really do want shares of Chicago's offense moving forward. Having the same head coach, not great, but I think we're going to get enough of an improvement for the offensive situation with Caleb Williams there, with them really going out of their way to build a team that does seem Caleb Williams friendly and has weapons that can make the most of what he's going to be able to do. I very much believe that's their commitment. And I think the contract for DeAndre Swift showed that most fully. So Swift and Connor again, inertia, keeping him in Arizona, but really played well last year. Some metrics on these guys, because we do talk about that stuff a lot here. Connor was a, no, come on, James Conner was a 0.09 EPA per rush, so very good. Positive EPA in the run game for a guy with that amount of volume, a very good sign. 0.07 EPA per pass, so positive in both metrics. Earned targets at a good rate, 27% target per out run rate. Actually, no, excuse me, that's Josh Jacobs. Oh, wow, Josh Jacobs earned a lot of fucking targets. James Conner was 21%, though. Still very good for a running back. So Connor, feel very good about him. Swift, I think, was a plus EPA rusher. No, he ended slightly negative. Negative 0.01 EPA per rush, negative 0.3 EPA per pass, but had only a 13% avoided tackle rate. So for Swift, we're really buying in on the situation. And I guess to fit the theme of the video, contract money for him, the intent from Chicago to kind of recommit to the offense, to make it a different one, to improve whoever they're going to take and have at QB next year, aka Caleb Williams. I think that I'm the most comfortable with that. And that's where, too, for Calvin Ridley, like, what's the unifying theme with him and DeAndre Swift in terms of making me feel good about these guys who got big money in a free agency? It's that there's also willful, things about improving the offense, improving the situation that in other parts of the team, where if Calvin Ridley got that money for that Mike Vrabel team, no, bad situation. Even though A.J. Brown, you've seen the comps out there that they had A.J. Brown could have signed him for basically the same guaranteed money as what Calvin Ridley got. Ultimately, it was a different GM. Now the current GM has to pay the tax for the past GM, and that taxes Calvin Ridley at that much money. But, again, you're bringing in an offensive coordinator who threw the ball a lot in Cincinnati, who schemed Joe Burrow to probably be as good as he could be, and maybe there's another level he can hit, but I think Joe Burrow, we've seen the ceiling, and I think a lot of that came at the hands of Brian Callahan, so that's a pretty big part of that. And again, for Swift, it's that committing money to the offense, committing draft capital to the offense, clearly aware of the fact the offense has not been where it needs to. I think we're seeing that pretty well. So those are the guys I buy in on, where there's like a lot of signal around the team just improving these things, and then also the money going to the particular guy. Wonder why all the wide receivers are already gone, and then I saw Spags in my draft. Look, I only took 4. I've not been the one going crazy here, but yeah, there's everybody else. Blame Mr. Drake London and 18 Vaporware. It's these guys' fault. Josh Allen's at a tier above Lamar and Hurts, TBH. I don't really agree with that, but I like Hurts in particular. No, like Hurts ran more. Hurts was the top Spags rankings QB last year. So because he ran the most, he was the most efficient. That's really the main things. He threw deep the most. I think Allen is right there. Like, he's 1-to-1 with those guys, but I don't think he should be going 12 picks higher. Unless you're going to take, Allen and Diggs on the turn. And I think that could be part of a slightly artificial inflation there, but I just don't think I don't think there's that big of a gap. And frankly, QB, there isn't that big of a gap. Like, what won last year? Jordan Love. It's just not that big of a gap. What advanced a lot of teams last year? Derek Carr and Jared Goff. QB is, as I've talked about a lot here, like, elite QBs inherently kind of aren't worth the price tag. Obviously, I'm going against that here. They're worth it. I still want exposure there, but I don't want to go crazy on them, because you could beat Jalen Hurts with Kyler Murray at 102. You could beat Jalen Hurts with Jaden Daniels at 130. You could beat Kyler Murray, and you could beat all these guys with Drake May at 150. Like, that's where QB is, because QB allows you the most upside and the most floor. Respect. Yes, so we'll do the little Derek Jeter tip of the cap thing. Great League QB isn't worth it, but that's just how I have him ranked. Okay, fair enough. Again, you could have him ranked 1, 2, 3. I just don't think it should be, 14 picks to Hurts, 19 to Lamar. It's like, I just don't get where Josh Allen gets all this from. I personally, but that's me. And I said that somebody, Josh Allen was my guy on drafters last year, and he carried me pretty well, but whatever. 2240, getting a little thin at wide receiver. Do you think that one guy who's going to come up, who for a team like ours that needs a little more certainty, I think, for the 5th wide receiver spot, I'm going to take Tyler Lockett here as one of my picks. For the second one, Is Dallas Goedert going to have a renaissance? Really disappointed me last year. I feel like Goddard also analytically kind of came back down to earth. Only a .07 EPA per target compared to .33 the year before. I guess if we're paying for Jalen Hurts, we should try to assume that he's going to have the best year of his career, and that would mean feeding these guys a little bit more. So I'll take Dallas Goedert. I kind of feel like it's a little bit of an overstack of Philly in a chalky way, but it's okay. Team still works. Jalen Hurts, Anthony Richardson at QB, James Conner, DeAndre Swift at running back, wide receiver A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, Jordan Addison, and Tyler Lockett, and a tight end, Dallas Goedert. Don't hate the team. Obviously, no rookies here. Not like a fun, spry team in that respect, but I do think one that has a good floor, definitely has ceiling. And frankly, even though I did take that extra deviation for Anthony Richardson, I don't think the team got weaker for that. So I feel okay about this. Where do you think Tyjae's ADP lands for BBM? 110s, maybe late 100s. But he's coming down. In the room I was in last night, I think he fell 35 spots. So I feel like 110s to me feels about right, but could be a little bit earlier. Good pick. Thank you. It's tough. It's sometimes tough to really don't want to be as overstacky this year, but if you're making a bet on Hurts at this point, and also too, we just want, because we don't have AR stack, so we really just want Jalen Hurts plus one pass catcher to be able to make a lineup, or Hurts creates enough value for that pass catcher to make a lineup. I can do that. Talking about Josh Allen here, number one QB multiple years recently. That's okay, but what's the gap between 1 and 2? It's like we talk about with NFL teams and their draft capital. It's like, what are you giving up to replace Jarrett Stidham with Justin Fields? What are you giving up to replace QBA with QBB? Is it worth the trade-off? And I think for Josh Allen, I just don't think it's worth the trade-off, even though you get a little more security, because it's still about that week-to-week variability. For a drafters format, for trying to win a regular season prize, yeah, Josh Allen probably has more value there because you have a certain certainty he's going to be top 3, if not number 1. But I just think that that's a steep price to pay for best ball. So the difference between guys being good over a course of a year and guys being good enough over a course of a year, but being able to give you the upside when you need it and doing that at more reasonable prices. And frankly, all the QBs in this range will do that for you at a lot cheaper with more logical stacks, with cheaper stacks. It makes the lineup work better, even though Allen himself is a better play. Like the stream, you scoundrels. I do enjoy people calling people scoundrels here, but yes, please hit the like button here again. Really does have a material effect on me trying to build this channel up and make this a viable revenue source and a thing that can grow in a business. And the more it works out. For right now, it's just a fucking YouTube channel that makes not enough money. It's really the main thing. But if we keep working at it, we keep showing up every day, and you hit that like button, then we'll be moving in the right direction. That's all I can ask. Talk about Fields being 3rd, 4th round trade as a backup QB. Baltimore. Oh, honestly, at this point, it's getting worse. Indianapolis now gone as well. That was one spot that some of the betting people on Twitter, I feel like we're pushing for Fields to be the backup for Anthony Richardson, which would be also not great. I think Denver's still live for him. That's his best shot to start. Seattle, maybe a little bit more live. Drew Lock is gone. Drew Lock, now a Giant, so probably will be in the hunt to start maybe a game. Depends if Daniel Jones starts on the PUP list or not, obviously. But I expect Daniel Jones to not go on the PUP list, but there is still the faint chance that Daniel Jones could be a post-June 1 cap cut. So that's the case. There's an opening there, and maybe the Giants would take a shot at Fields as being – honestly, why wouldn't the Giants do that now? I agree that they shouldn't cut Jones because of the dead cap, but Fields is a better Daniel Jones, right? At least the running part. And the pass game is probably break even, if not a little bit in favor of Fields. So I would take that shot. Why do you think Komet's falling? Because the Bears signed another tight end, didn't they? Thought that was the case. Yeah, Gerald Everett. Yeah, that's why. Just people, they signed another guy. That's it. I agree he shouldn't fall. He shouldn't fall because it's the same situation. They're still paying him a ton of money and the situation's upgraded, but people see that other tight end coming in and they go, oh no, the volume of it, and it doesn't matter that much. Anyone else in a frozen fast draft right now? I hope not. Mine's moving here. We're humming. When did that happen? 2 days ago, I think Everett signed. It was a quiet one, but Gerald Everett, yeah. Going to the Bears. So he's the new Robert Tonyan. As a guy that hurts the theoretical value of Kmet, but doesn't really hurt it that much. All right, coming up here, do have Cole Kmet, but no correlation there that we need. Seeing some picks I'm perfectly fine with on the board to shore up some positions. So Chuba I'm okay with. Again, Carolina going to be a willful running team. Possible they add somebody else there, but they've talked positively about Chuba enough. We'll to take him at this range for right now. And then Sharps, we can play the upside for Seattle. Ambiguous backfield with a new coaching staff coming in. Jerome Ford, same coaching staff who liked him a lot last year. I think with how we went late at running back, and I also think because we have a good correlation here at, like, we have a nice team. I'm not going to fuck it up. I think Jerome Ford is a better pick for not fucking this up. Team so far, Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson. Of course, why would the jersey be on? AR's on the team. James Conner, DeAndre Swift, Chuba Hubbard, Jerome Ford, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, Jordan Addison, Tyler Lockett at wide receiver, at tight end, Dallas Goedert. One case you could have made for Charbonnet would be that micro correlation with Tyler Lockett, which I do think is a valuable thing to have weaved in across your teams, but we're not going to do that today. Go Jerome Ford. I guess it's an issue. Frozen on desktop or frozen on the app? Because I'm on I'm obviously on a laptop right here. Has Deontay dropped much of the trade? No, he's coming up. Deontay was, see, he went 75 here. I think his ADP is 80, or it was as of yesterday. No, 86.3. So yeah, he's coming up. He's coming up as he should. He is he shouldn't come up too much. Like, he shouldn't come up to the 60s, 50s, I don't think. But he should be in the 70s. I think he should be probably, I'd put him ahead of JSN at this point. Probably wouldn't put him ahead of Addison. I think he's pretty close to Godwin. I'd put him ahead of Godwin. Would not put him ahead of Watson. Look, Deontay's in a good situation, man. Dave Canales was a great play caller who schemed a great offense for Tampa Bay last year. Obviously, the results are the results, but like, really, I couldn't be more impressed with what, I thought of that situation where I thought they were a team that could have been like the Cardinals, and the Cardinals too were pretty feisty for what it's worth. Obviously, the results were still pretty bad, but they didn't go limp like some of the other teams, like the Panthers did. So I don't hate it. Like the team, thank you. Oh, on the app, Frozen. All right, it's possible. It's possible that the app's having some glitches, which not great for sure. Move to your laptop if you can. Honestly, might be plus EV if you just move to your laptop instead of doing it on your phone then, because the people who are like, oh no, it's frozen. They're just, the picks are going and probably autoing for them. Canalsico also boosted the interior offensive line. Yes, that's true. They did do that. They've committed to, again, they want to be stubborn about the run. They want to use that to take the pressure off of Bryce. And Bryce himself can move around a little bit. Baker ran, again, a little bit more than people realized last year, ran about 5 times a game. Bryce, I think, can run 7. He's small. You don't want to take him big hits, but he's pretty good at avoiding contact. So I'd be okay with that. People are saying for Frozen, contact support, they will help you and give you a credit. Okay. Here's the advice. 5 big boards were funded. I've only had the one. Only the first draft you did on stream here was the one that we had kicked out. Nothing else so far that I've done has been kicked out, thankfully. Yeah, Bryce ran for his life. There were a lot of plays where sometimes he ran for his life and then like didn't actually run past the line of scrimmage. He would stop and try to pass. It's like, dude, just keep running. Like, there's lanes for you. So I think he can prove as a runner. And, frankly, he showed me enough, able to escape a lot of stuff in the pocket to Bryce. Like, he's more close to Kyler Murray than people want to give credit for it. Obviously, Kyler started a lot harder out of the box, but I think there's a lot of similarities there. And, Kyler a more willing deep ball passer, Kyler a little more creative as well. But Kyler in a scheme, Bryce in a scheme, I think can be a good thing. And that was what I said last year. And even going back to the preview videos, I kind of saw his numbers and was like, this feels more like Bama scheme than it does like Bryce's own talent. Some guys are system QBs. Bryce Young, I think, is a system QB, and now he's getting a good system. So great. Good for him. When you join late, no Spags got his QB1. Yeah, look, you see the AR jersey on. Spoiler alert right away. But Ross, even better. I mentioned it earlier. We got, of course, Garrett Wilson at the 1-2 turns. That one just goes for our pal Ross. So we have debated Garrett Wilson quite a bit. But sometimes you guys got to take Garrett Wilson. And frankly, I don't need to make the bet on Aaron Rodgers with it, even though the bet is kind of correlated. We're cool without AR. or the secondary AR was on a conspiracy theory podcast as well. I saw on awfulannouncing.com. I did not get to read the article, but apparently 3-hour conspiracy theory podcasts for Aaron Rodgers, which for what it's worth, I'm glad he's having fun. Like, I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers guy, but it seems like he's doing what he enjoys. All right. 2451 here. Oh my goodness. Xavier Leggett right here. Look at me in the face. Come here, bud. Come on down, you Southern drawl having beautiful bastard. Xavier Leggett. 2461 now. I don't know if this is the price point to handcuff Roschon Johnson. Pat Freiermuth. We are getting an Arthur Smith upgrade for tight end. Probably believe in Michael Mayer the most, and do think Michael Mayer gets a pretty big boost getting Gardner Minshew in. Michael Mayer, you are my pick here. Though Freiermuth, I think that's closer than it seems, and you can make the case I should have taken the discount on Freiermuth, but I didn't. Let's give this team a read. Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson at QB. At running back, James Conner, DeAndre Swift, Chuba Hubbard, and Jerome Ford. A wide receiver, A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, Jordan Addison, Tyler Lockett, and Xavier Leggett. And then a tight end, Dallas Goedert and Michael Mayer. I like what we got going. I think that honestly, I think I'm on a very good tear of very solid drafts on stream. So, hey, you hope you get something from it. If nothing else, I'm just glad that I'm not drafting shit teams. Even in rooms that are a little more splash play friends and family, I think we're putting up good squads. So I'm happy with it. Freiermuth is interesting with no Deontay. Look, it's an upgrade. It is an upgrade. You definitely make the case I could have taken him over Mayer. I just believe in Mayer's talent a little bit more. And also, I don't know. Russ did not do great with tight ends last year. Does that matter that much? Has he ever had a great tight end that he's fed very aggressively? I think he looks at boundary guys a little bit more, slot guys a little bit more. So that'd be my one thing if he's going to be the starter there. And I don't think that's a sure thing either. Could be Pickett again, and Pickett and Freiermuth probably have the second best connection on the team. I think that Pickens number one with Pickett, and then Freiermuth would be number two, and Deontay. I think it's part of why he's leaving. So yeah, if it's Pickett or Wilson, I guess, I don't know. We'll see. Hope Gardner wins that job. Yeah, I mean, that's the bet here. But if not, if Gardner doesn't win the job, I think whoever is going to be QB, whether it be Aiden O'Connell, whether it be some rookie that they somehow stumble upon in the draft, I think they'll be able to feed Michael Mayer, and I think it's going to be a priority to get Michael Mayer going. Not going as well as Devontae Adams, for sure, but it'll be a priority to get Mayer going. And also, not having Josh Jacobs going to help the red zone share for Mayer. Mayer, the one thing that I remember very vividly from his rookie data, he earned red zone targets at a rate like people do not earn. So him being a guy that can get some more, especially his attention kind of pushes towards Devontae Adams, I think it'd be a great thing for him. I know over both tight ends, IMO. I don't agree with that. I think I'm just a dude. I mean, Baker's back. I think he kind of rode the wave with Baker, but he also too benefited from them not getting Rachaad White enough targets late. Like when they did make that big push down the stretch and then into the playoffs. So you can make the case. I don't know. I'm not big on him. I think it's a little resultsy. While Kittenhouse hasn't even reached once in this draft, did you see him take Saquon Barkley at 9? I think he reached pretty well for himself. But Lyle Kittenhouse, somehow both the best and worst name on Underdog. I feel you can talk about your walrus balls and all that all you want, but Lyle Kittenhouse makes me uncomfortable, even though it's not. Yeah, it's just not good. Not good. Hates it over the middle. I mean, look, that's been the Russ thing. But again, it doesn't matter. Like, shouldn't make you not take Freiermuth, but Freiermuth benefits from no Deontay. That's probably at least makes it a wash that Russ doesn't target tight end enough. But it is odd that Russ has never had an outlier tight end. Is really the main thing. Oh, you're being sarcastic. Oh, okay. I didn't realize. I'm not paying that much attention to Lyle here. Because again, the name makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. No me gusta Lyle Kittenhouse. 2462 here. Could make the case for a third tight end. I wouldn't hate that. Running back is pretty much dead right now, though. Does feel like Rico Dowdle has not had any sort of pop up at all, even though, he is technically the starting running back right now. I'm going to take Tez Walker, though, for a 7th wide receiver. I like that as a pick. Khalil Herbert needs to get out of Chicago. I just don't trust that situation. Rico Dowdle, I think, has got to be it. We're a little thin at running back. We only have 4 guys in there. And even though I like these 4 guys, it is still just 4 guys. Rico Dowdle, come on down. Team so far, Jalen Hurts, he's free agent, is he? I mean, nobody's going to steal Rico Dowdle, so I think it's more like Dallas seeing where else they're going to go. And if they don't find anything better, I do think the Cowboys are live for Audric Estime. I think they're the kind of team that would see Audric Estime's highlights and go, whoa, like, look at that. That's the kind of guy we need. So that's, if you want to talk yourself back in Audric Estime, that's how you can do it. Anyway, team so far, Jalen Hurts and AR at QB, and running back, James Conner, DeAndre Swift. All right, currently not under contract. Well, at least the good news, he's available. So he's going to get a good landing spot, hopefully in Dallas. That's the hope here. It's never Deuce Vaughn season. It'll never be Deuce Vaughn season. Running backs, James Conner, DeAndre Swift, Chuba Hubbard, Jerome Ford, Rico Dowdle. Guess that explains why people aren't steaming him up. A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, Jordan Addison, Tyler Lockett, Xavier Leggett, Tez Walker, and a tight end, Dallas Goedert, Michael Mayer. The thing is, I still feel like even with Dowdle not under contract, I'd probably take him over all these guys still, especially given that we have Chuba, so I don't have to make the contrarian bet on Miles Sanders to win the Carolina backfield. So I'm okay with that. This may go in number 2 here in a lot. Maybe a couple of weeks ago, that was the thing that I thought. It does seem like within the last week, odds have moved towards Jaden Daniels going number 2 a little bit more. And Drake May going to New England does feel like a good fit. Actually, a good watch if you want to try to sell yourself on Drake May a little bit more. The scheme video that Josh Norris did with Colt McCoy and Drake May, very good video. I had not watched that until yesterday. Really enjoyed that one. And Drake May, a very, very smart guy, clearly knows how to play the position well, and definitely a guy that has learned his craft well in a way that, look, I like Jaden Daniels more. I know some people feel differently. I think it's hard to go wrong with the top 3 guys. Really, Drake May, though, the one big flaw we talked about yesterday, only on target 61% of the time on his throws, which is really not great for a guy who, again, seems really smart, has a big arm, moves around the pocket well, is mobile. So May having that as a flaw, worries me. But Jaden Daniels having that as a strength is why I like Jaden Daniels more. Am I the only one who doesn't view this QB class as super elite? I mean, I think that they are as well positioned as any class of QBs. Since I've been really looking at this aggressively, I don't have the frame of reference. Like, I'm sure there are better classes historically, but the top 3 is really good. There are flaws for the top 3. Like Caleb Williams meaningfully regressed this year too. Drake May, as I've talked about, he ran less this year because it's a business decision, I think, more than anything. But he ran less. Like Caleb Williams, less successful, I think, because of the fact that he played a little bit too loose. And frankly, he won his Heisman once they were out of title contention. And part of the reason I think we were out of title contention was the awful defense, but it was Caleb Williams not being as good as last year. So his accuracy stuff worries me a little. But with Caleb, you see the Mahomesy tools, so that drives you there. For Jaden Daniels, he is AR plus Stroud, as I've said enough times here. You're never going to spook me off that. Drake May is a Josh Allen hybrid on the spectrum of guys who run, guys who throw it deep a lot and willingly. That's a great skill to have. So, and those are traits too for all these guys, where these are not just fantasy traits, they're real life traits as well that should help these guys win games. And I also I like Bo Nix. I like JJ McCarthy. These guys ran offense as well. They're not the upside guys who you put on a playground and expect them to make plays, but I think that they're guys that, and honestly, McCarthy might be more than we know because he had the governor on him fully at Michigan. But like McCarthy and Nix can run an offense. So you have now 5 QBs that I think should be starters. If not immediately for some of them, but soon. Could see them all not being great. I mean, that's everything. That's every draft. It's possible they fail, but based on stuff I look at, I would not view that as the most probable outcome. But that's obviously me. Your mileage may vary. Make and throw deep. The Patriots have no deep threats. That's why they were trying to get Ridley. Would not be shocked, by the way. Patriots coming over the top for Marquise Brown. Very much in play now. They need a downfield guy. All right. Who do we go to next? Definitely still need some RBs. All right, good. I was really hoping that Carlos would not take our beloved Tank Bigsby. We're making the bet against Travis Etienne once again. Already, signal from Doug Peterson. They do not want to give him the same work. We're going Tank Bigsby's way. I think a third tight end would not be a bad thing here. I don't even know. Like, am I going to take Jelani Woods? I don't even know if Jelani Woods is going to fucking play. He can't be out an entire year with your hamstring and not be a good thing. AJ Dillon. So here's the thing with AJ Dillon and why I'm taking him here. A lot of things on social media with AJ Dillon in Dallas. Do I think that's a good pick? No. But at this point with my running back room, I'm just trying to get somebody that might end up in Dallas. So I'm taking a shot on AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon was awful last year. If they did bring him in, I think it'd be foolish. They should take Estime. They should take Bucky Irving. They should take Jonathan Brooks. They should take two of them, honestly. Take two of the rookies because Brooks is going to be hurt to start the year. We'll have to ramp up after the ACL tear. They should do that. That said, if AJ Dillon goes to Dallas, he's going to go in the top 75, and it would be insane. So AJ Dillon, come on down. It'd be such a Dallas move. I agree. That's what I saw somebody tweet about. I'm like, are you fucking yes? That's okay. That's a logic to take AJ Dillon. Dobbins still also live. Tony Pollard, better Tony Pollard is Dobbins that? Maybe not quite as good in the pass game. But if you're Dallas, you can talk yourself into that. But I think the most likely outcome is Dallas gets two of these guys. Like two guys, whether it be one free agent, one rookie, two free agents, two rookies. I think it's all kind of in play for them. And then, they could bring back Dowdle too. That wouldn't be a shocker there because just to have some consistency. But, we'll see. Such a Cowboys fan. People are agreeing here. Benson, 3 down back right. He should be with that speed. He was better as a pass catcher than as a rusher at FSU. Again, did not impress me as a rusher analytically, but he was a top athlete in the class. So, you got to take him. If he were good, so just to give people a guess, because I don't really say this out loud, for a frame of reference, like guys who fit my analytic profile, like guys who hit the EPA metrics in the way that I want to see, hit the target route run rate, if you're a running back, have the avoided tackles and all of that. That's like the main thing that I look at. Guys who have the athletic score stuff, I assume we're going to get better draft capital, and then I try to balance that out against the analytics. If Benson were as good analytically as he was athletically, he would be my top running back in the class. The issue is he just wasn't that good in the analytics. Didn't avoid tackles that well, wasn't a plus EPA running back. So things that are not great, but he was close enough to zero that you make the bet based on the athleticism and the talent. And the fact too, there's not a lot of great running backs in the class. But for me, I'd rather personally, I think Estime is a better player. I think Bucky's a better player. I think Brooks is definitely a better player. So that's how I feel about Benson, but too fast, too good. Soon while we're going drafted, yeah, the retirement risk is too big. Plus the fact that, Daniel Jones either going to have to be a pocket passer a little bit more coming off the ACL tear, or Daniel Jones not going to be on the team, which, could make it better for a Waller. But if you're Waller coming back and you don't know the QB is going to be, I don't know. Still tend to think he comes back though, because he's coming off a divorce. I don't know. Like, do you really want to be divorced and then losing maybe some money to a WNBA player who probably did not make enough to hit the threshold that you have to give her half? I don't know. I don't know about that. But that's me. That's probably vaguely misogynistic rumor and innuendo. FSU would have won the Natty this year because Benson was fast. FSU fans, very delusional. The irony is, like, some of my best friends in life are FSU fans, which I would not have guessed, but people I've met in New York throughout the years. My former co-founder of Guyism, Cass, FSU fan. One of my closest friends, Chelsea, also an FSU fan. And lovely people, but, I was a little bit delusional about FSU. I get it. Good call, Spags. I agree. That's what you said about anything I've said here on stream today, any day. No. Look, we're always going to get some things wrong. I think that's the main thing here. But, also quick plug. I shouldn't be doing it right before my pick comes up, but let's get the plugs out of the way because we got 2 picks coming up. So first of all, probably, again, my baby here. The results are probably, again, like the funniest thing that's ever happening. We're up 25 units in March. It's been 13 days in March. And also, by the way, I don't do content on the weekends. One losing day was me placing some half-ass parlays because I wanted to try to win $5,000 on 5. So that's what I lost money on there. Point being, though, for probably, the data has never been better right now. And with March Madness coming up, I think you're really going to get good returns on it. So check it out for yourself. If you want to support directly, 50% off for the promo code SPLASH. That means you get first month for under $10, a year for under $100. But also there's a 7-day free trial going on the App Store, which I will link in the pinned comments as well. And last call, once again, on Friday, giving away the guest hosting spot for Splash Play. So if you leave 5 stars and a review for probably on the App Store, you'll be entered to win a guest hosting spot on Splash Play. So that's coming up pretty fast here on Friday. 2 days, or I guess tomorrow. Fuck, the week is flying by. All right. We're doing that every month as well. 2772 here. I do like A.T. Perry. We got to get some correlation for AR. Alec Pierce moving to unemployment based upon ADP, but he is still on the roster, so we will take a shot at him here. And frankly, well, you know what? I do like the 3 tight end build a lot. And Davis Allen being here, I just don't think Davis Allen should go undrafted. I've said that enough times. He's a much better version of Tyler Higbee, and I don't think that Colby Parkinson upsets things for Davis Allen. Davis Allen is a pass catcher who can block. Colby Parkinson is a blocker who will occasionally catch a pass. So Davis Allen, to me, is still a big steal at this point in the draft. All right. Final team here. QB, Jalen Hurts, Anthony Richardson. At running back, we do have James Conner, DeAndre Swift, Chuba Hubbard, Jerome Ford, Rico Dowdle, Tank Bigsby, and A.J. Dillon, really trying to win that Dallas starting job with somebody who can just walk into the role of a lifetime. At wide receiver, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Garrett Wilson. I shouldn't have flipped the order there, but of course, going with the Philly stack with Jalen Hurts, Jordan Addison, Tyler Lockett, Xavier Leggett, Tez Walker, Alec Pierce. Felt good at wide receiver, but I think I really stuck the landing at wide receiver. 2 guys, athletic freaks. Leggett, I like analytically. Tez Walker, less so, but he is a downfield target guy who should have some spike days. You would hope if he lands somewhere good, and he should based upon his athletic profile. Dallas Goedert, Michael Mayer, Davis Allen at tight end. I like the team again. I'm going to like the team tomorrow probably even more because you know what, guys? Tomorrow is 0 RB Friday. So come back for that one. Of course, the day where I am legally committed to not draft a running back early on. So I'm going to do that tomorrow. Of course, promo code SPLASH, Underdog, double your deposit to $100 for your new sign up. Get a mystery pick 'em as well for that, which is a great thing. Stochastic, 15% off on there. I've seen you guys, some people signing up for NASCAR, some people signing up PGA, MMA, another great one. I don't think there's UFC this weekend, but in general, MMA Sims, really good. I recommend that product. NBA, I used it yesterday, had too much Simone Fontecchio, even though the Sims put me on a lot of Jalen Duren based off my projection. So Jalen Duren was a play you needed, but not having DeMar DeRozan, not having too much Fontecchio, tough double whammy there. But the tools make you feel alive, and that is the main thing I ask for of any DFS product, just making me feel like I have a shot to win if I do the right things. Stochastics tools do that. So check it for yourself. Promo code SPLASH on there, or check the link in the description to get 15% off any package, data, Sims, whatever you want. All these people have helped me put on the show today, and you too could be one of them. Hit the join button down below, $4.99 a month. And you'll be able to help me do things. Keep growing the channel, keep putting things towards it. And also, frankly, right now, this is my job. So pay bills, quote unquote. So whatever you guys do to support the channel helps me out here. And these people have done that better than you. I don't know what to say, man. But tomorrow the reading of names comes up, so we will update the graphics. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play Pod. And come back tomorrow. Drafts every day, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. So join us on that journey here. I will be here giving you info, reading everything I can, researching, talking about it. And I appreciate you guys being along for the ride. So I'll see you guys again soon. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Bye.